A very warm welcome and thank you so much for joining us. This afternoon's information session is a Q&A and a chance to see whether or not this is a right fit for you. Joining us this evening is Alistair Houghton and Jacqui Merrington, who are two of the alumni from this program.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I'm Alistair. I am editor of Business Live at Reach PLC, which is Britain's biggest commercial publisher, and I effectively run our regional business teams at Reach.
Great. Thanks, Alistair. Alistair is an alumni of our postgraduate certificate in journalism, innovation, and leadership. And just to say, this program, Jacqui, who will be joining us later, is a recent graduate of our master's program, which is a pathway that we have. So people enroll for the postgraduate certificate, some continue to the master's, and then we have people who continue all the way on to a PhD by portfolio. It's all about an applied learning pathway for people. So this is our 5th year. Alistair is part of the 4th cohort that we've had. We're in our 5th year of this version of the program. We've been involved with journalism, leadership, education, and research for 20 years this year. We've been pioneering not only journalism education in the UK, but also journalism leadership education. The program that you are asking about, over the last 5 years, we've had more than 100 participants from 20 countries across 4 continents. And we've had folks, lovely to see folks here from Africa. We've got folks joining us from the continent, the European continent, some people from the UK. But we've had people on this program over the years who have come from traditional news publishers, broadcasters, BBC, ITV, and others, news agencies like Reuters and Bloomberg and the like, but also founders of startups, digital natives. We've had people with very B2B businesses. We've had people who've had roles in editorial, people who've been managing editors, people who've been commercial directors, people who have bridging roles. And so I guess the main thing to just point out is the central part of this program is about people who are interested in leading innovation in the news industry. Alistair, tell us a little bit about what got you interested in joining the leadership program?
Thanks. Well, directly what got me interested is a good friend of mine and someone who worked at Reach actually gave me a little nudge and said, I've been doing this, it might interest you. So I had a look at, and it did. As Francois said, everyone on the cohort sort of has different backgrounds and different challenges. I guess for me, I was and am very aware that I've been at one company for a very long time. It's been largely great, but I did know that I wanted to expand my perspectives a bit and think a bit more about the future, I guess, of both my job and about the industry, which is something which it can be terribly difficult to do for all of us in the day job, because you do just tend to be pushing forward from one thing to the next. And it just felt like the right opportunity. So I tried, I applied, I was successful. Entirely coincidentally, in between my getting my place and my actually starting the course, the company for which I work had a round of change. It happens in our industry quite a lot, shall we say. So the start of 2024, which is the calendar year which I did the program, was a tough start to the year. So actually, as it happened, this is a coincidence, but as it turned out, a good one. Doing this program really did come at exactly the right time. It came at exactly the point when we, the group for whom I work, needed to look forward, needed some new ideas, and yeah, it's in terms of applying and starting the course, it did just come at the right point, Francois. Yeah.
Thanks, Alistair. I see that Jacqui has joined us as well, which is fantastic. So, Jacqui, just briefly introduce yourself. Just tell us what's your job today.
Hi, Francois, and hi, everyone. Really good to see you all on the call. My name's Jacqui, and I am Director of AI at Mail Metro Media. I am working in the commercial team for the Daily Mail, Metro, iPaper, and New Scientist. I joined about 2 years ago, which was about just under a year after I started this course. Before that, I had been at Reach for a very long time on the journalism side. I was editor of a lot of the sites across the Reach Regionals network, and involved in a lot of audience growth and SEO strategy work. And I think my original reason for joining the course, other than meeting Francois and him inspiring me and telling me this was going to be the greatest thing ever, which it was, by the way, was that I was really invested in local news, and I really had this passion for working out how we might create sustainable journalism models for local news. And obviously my career has diverged quite a long way from there since, but I think what the course brought me was this different set of perspectives, not just on local news, but on journalism and journalism sustainability as a whole. And I felt like, I guess the Mail Metro Media job was a great opportunity to understand the commercial side of journalism, having spent so long on the editorial side. And so, yeah, since then I've taken a bit of a squiggly path, but I think partly that's because this really inspired in me a love of learning and learning new things and trying new things and understanding more about the world of journalism as a whole.
Thanks, Jacqui. I just want to continue that. I mean, your role right now at as head of AI for Mail Metro, I mean, is it puts you right at the cutting edge of kind of digital transformation and change in our, not just in our sector, but in our world. Just speak a little bit about how do you think the program fed into your being in that position?
Oh, I think in so many different ways. So for a start, I think signing up to the program, as I say, I got the experience to learn not just off the course leaders, of Francois and his colleagues within UCLan, but from the whole cohort of people that I was learning with. And you really feel like you're part of a team, you're part of a group, you're part of a wider network where everyone's got very different experiences. But that's really eye-opening. Everybody's there to support you along the way as well. So I think feeling as though I had that support network and that learning environment was really important. I felt as though the reading really helped me understand journalism from so many different angles, and a lot of it is very future facing. So there's a lot of sort of real, I think a lot of what I read and a lot of what I got from the course was this kind of real affirmation in the future of journalism and its importance and its role in society. So you really feel like you're invested in an industry and in a network that really cares about journalism. And then I think the skills that I gained along the way, so the understanding of who you are and what your purpose is, but also then like your leadership skills, your the frameworks and tools that it gives you for innovation, I think were really important. And then I used this course then to go on and continue with the master's program. So once I'd done the postgrad, I did the master's, and I was able to focus my master's research project around AI, really because I guess it fitted in with some elements of the work that I was doing within Mail Metro Media. And that's worth saying as well, that everything you do throughout the course, you're encouraged to apply it back to your own newsroom, your own environment, your own work. And so it's complementary to what you're doing day to day. So although it's extra work, it's also complementing what you're doing day to day. And so I was able to use my master's project as an opportunity to really delve deep into the world of AI and audience perceptions of AI and newsroom adoption of it, and therefore apply it back to my role and ultimately shape a role within AI at Mail Metro Media. And I have the confidence, I think, because of this network and this course, to be able to pitch for that role as well and say, I really think I can do this, and I think I've got the skills and the experience to take this on.
Thanks, Jacqui. I mean, there's a lot of questions we can ask you, but I want to just kind of go back to Alistair. I mean, Alistair, and pick up on a point that you made when you introduced yourself, was you joined the course or the program at a time when there was lots of change, and that change continues. Just tell us a little bit about kind of where you were at when you started and how things have shifted for you since.
Yeah, so when I started the course early 2024, and that was at a time when my team had shrunk. And so, as is always the case in that situation, you have to step back and think, well, what are we doing and how do we do it? You've got to not be defeatist. Now, the one thing that this course gave me in huge amounts was the ability to be positive, was the ability much more to plan, to be able to look forward, positivity, to take some of the learnings that Jacqui's mentioned, to take some of the wider learnings from the industry, but also from my peers on the course. If you join this program, you just get such a good cohort of people from so many different places. You learn so much from so many different people, and to be able to take that forward and to be able to stop thinking in terms of what do we do now, and start thinking much more in terms of, well, actually, if we think a bit differently, we can look to the future with optimism. And I certainly found at the end of the 11, 12 months or so of learning, I certainly felt and still feel much better prepared to face the future and whatever challenges the future holds. For those of you who know the industry and know Reach, you'll be aware that there's been more changes announced of late, and for very obvious reasons, I can't and won't go into it. All I can say is that, and I think it might be because I've done this program, the difference it makes going into a change program, knowing that you've got some real thought behind you, knowing that you have in recent past taken the time to really think and plan and study your industry, and business journalism, regional business journalism is my little bit of it, and to study that. Confidence isn't the right word. It's a difficult time, but it is undeniably good to know that you've got that behind you, and that you've got through this program a peer group of people. I've had people reaching out to me entirely unprompted, offering to chat and offering to discuss things, which is just great. And they don't know this yet, but I will be taking them up on it. But yeah, it it was a real confidence boost, I think, for me. I don't think I was alone in my year either in saying that. I think that it really does make you feel you can do things. And I'll pick up on one point Jacqui made as well. I think it's work, this program. There's no way around it, but it is useful work, and it is work. Because one thing I never got to do in work was think about the things, think about the industry. And this course forces you to do that. It's actually really helpful. Actually, as a manager, really, I, Jacqui, all of us should be doing that, but it's very hard to do it. And actually, being able to take the time to do that has just been really, really good.
Thanks, Alistair. So it is work. And for those of you who are thinking about applying and joining this community, you probably would like to know a little bit about how much work. How do you, when there's just, so many hours in the day, you've got the commitments of a very demanding industry, family, life, balance. So Jacqui, you not only did it for 1 year, but another one. Tell us, you've got a super demanding job, you commute, you've got a family, and all of things, you're a runner, you've got all of these kinds of things going on. Tell us just how much time and how did you make it work?
It is challenging, I think, but it comes in peaks and troughs, right? There's, I think each of the programs within that first year, if I'm right, Francois, it's a 10-week program of once a week logging in for an hour and a half for a Zoom session, team session, and then reading on top of that. And then there are these kind of bursts where you've got to produce an end of each term project, and it's hard work. And I put in a lot of hours over weekends and evenings and some sleepless nights. And I did, yeah, you're right. I live in Devon. I commute to London every week. I go up on the train, spend a couple of nights up there. I have 2 kids who are 10 and 12. I have a full-time job, and there are times when I found it really tough, but I always came through it. It was always okay. I could always fit it in. I think I did have to compromise in some areas, but it's a short period of time, and it was so, I feel as though it was so worthwhile. And as I say, you're doing it for yourself. You can structure it in a way that's really helpful for work, and you get so much more out of it than you put in, really. You're not just coming out at the end with a final project and a mark, but you're coming out with a whole group of people that have got your back, and as Alistair described, will look out for you at every step, and also be your kind of cheerleaders within the industry, but also your network and friends. So I think I can't pretend that it was really easy all the time, but and I'm sure I had my moments. But actually, that first year, there's a real structure to it that helps you through as well. And I think it's planned out. You know what's coming, and none of the coursework, while you have to put a lot into it, none of them was so overwhelmingly long that they were impossible to do. It was doable.
Thanks, Jacqui. Alistair, I think if there's something you'd like to add to that, but just to say for everybody, the program planner for 2026 is available on the Media Innovation Studio site for downloading already. Our program is structured in 3 10-week blocks. As Jacqui mentioned, we meet from 4:30 till 6 o'clock on a Monday evening like this. We have a flipped learning approach. So each week we ask people to do some reading and some small tasks, reflections. So we do say to people that we expect you to budget, 6 to 8 hours or so. It varies per week, but it does mean you do need to do some prep in addition to just attending. We record the sessions as we are with this one and make those available to people to catch up. But we do call people participants and not students. And we do that for a number of reasons. Everybody who joins our program, whatever sector, whatever place, whatever level they are, come with expertise. And we recognize you come with expertise, and we invite you to join and to share that expertise to the value of everybody. And so we do, I make quite a big emphasize this quite a bit. It's really important to everybody that everybody shares and participates, and doesn't just take. So it's about reciprocity. But yes, it's peaks and troughs, and it's a very supportive community. We understand everybody has demands and things happen and so on. So, Alistair, how was that for you, this kind of rhythm of Monday meetings and then intensive study blocks and applied learning projects?
It does work really well. It unquestionably does come in peaks and troughs. We're all journalists, right? So we're all deadline hounds. We all know how it works. So we all do tend to work towards the assignments. That's the way it is. And so when you get nearer to the assignments, there is more work. But the Monday meetings do work really well. They and I say this reluctantly, they do work much better if you do all the reading. It's a long reading list. Honestly, it's not as long as it looks. And when you actually start cracking on with it, it's really helpful. And I think Jacqui's already said, you do pick up all these perspectives. You do get to know people very quickly. So you do find that everyone's very helpful, and everyone does help each other, and we'll stay in touch. And everyone does chip in all the meetings. And I'm not someone who naturally chips in meetings, really. And everyone's very supportive and encouraging. Something I would say actually is, I know on my year, myself and a few other people were a little bit, not intimidated, but a bit worried about the fact that it's an academic course, that it's at a university. And I would say don't panic on that. Obviously there are academic standards to be met. Francois and team wouldn't be doing their job if they weren't, but they will guide you through it. And fundamentally, it is about expertise, and it is about journalism. Yeah, it's about the theory behind it. Yeah, but I promise you, even if, like myself, you've been out of learning for quite a while, you will get back into it. The main tip I can give you is do assign time. I joke about the journalism thing, but don't try and do it all at the last minute. Just assign a bit of time. It is hard. Life gets in the way. But I promise you, you can do it. I did it. Jacqui's done it. Everyone in our year did it. It's not easy, but you can do it.
Thanks, Alistair. I think you picked up on the fact that we do work quite hard to put people together in learning groups, and we vary that so that you get to have study groups, to work on team projects together, and to share feedback on your own projects. Jacqui, maybe you could come in with that in terms of how did you experience the kind of cohort and community part of it?
Yeah, I think that's we had a really strong cohort, but we had a really global cohort, and that was so brilliant because, as I said at the start, so much of this course is about getting different perspectives from other people working in the media, and people are at incredibly different organizations, and that richness and that variety of the experiences that that people had was really important. I think we were quite a big cohort our year, and I think we started off quite quiet, probably quieter than Alistair's cohort in the beginning. I don't know whether you experienced that, Francois, but certainly, like, up by the time we'd got through that first intensive study week, we had very much got to know each other more, and you know, I think I finished the first part of this course, the postgrad element of this course, nearly 2 years ago, and a lot of us are still in touch and still speak regularly, and so yeah, it's that's been great. And then when it comes to the projects, I think we helped each other out as a cohort with elements of our projects where we knew that other people in our cohort had different areas of expertise. We would lean on that, but we also had this mentor support network around us as well. So we each had a mentor who we could lean on for advice, who we could share our study projects with and our ideas with, and they would give us feedback. I had a great experience. My mentor was a really good match there. It was somebody who shared a lot of similar values and experiences to me, and she was really helpful. Again, I'm still in touch with her, and I think that really helps as well with getting you through the project, because they give you the ideas, they sense check, they test, they're happy to do a read through and give some advice and guidance as well. So yeah, I found that another great element of it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jacqui. I want to pick up on that a little bit, because yes, for those of you who don't yet know, we do offer everybody the opportunity to have a mentor, and we have an incredible board of industry advisors and mentors that with people from really very different experiences, some alumni, some are just avid supporters of the program over time, and they are coordinated by Jeremy Clifford, who is our head of mentoring. He's also on our board and one of the faculty members on the program, and also one of the supporters who is offering a scholarship for one of the participants, a tuition scholarship through his company, Chrysalis Transformations. So maybe, Alistair, speak a little bit about your experience with the mentoring.
Yeah, the mentoring is fantastic. One of the sort of little highlights of the whole program was actually this is when everyone gets assigned their mentors, and everyone gets very excited about it. It's kind of sweet. Me too. Yeah, my mentor, someone in a similar sector, as Jacqui said, someone who was very kindly willing to listen to me ramble and read through notes, and sort of without marking projects. Their job as mentors isn't to mark projects, but was able to read things and talk me through. Where I found my mentor particularly useful was at the point when I just wasn't quite sure what one of my projects was going to be, and it was through talking to him and sharing ideas, he without directing me was able to tease out where I needed to go, and that's what I did the project on. And again, some of the stuff I've worked on there is still feeding into what I'm doing today, indirectly. And again, what Francois and the team are very good at is connecting you with different people that you might not otherwise have met. And again, we all have this tunnel vision day to day, and one of the wonderful things is that you do get to meet different people. I know I found the mentoring very helpful, and I think it's fair to say on my cohort, Francois can say, I think everyone did. It was both fun but also really, really helpful.
Fantastic, thanks. Speaking of mentors, Alison Gow has joined us, and so Alison,
Hi.
Lovely to see you, and thanks. I'm going to just spotlight you as well. There you are. And I'm delighted that Alison's been able to join us. Alison Gow is both the co-leader of the key module on our program, journalism leadership. she's an alumna of our earlier version of the course, the Masters in Journalism Leadership. She is a member of our board of industry advisors and mentors and been one of the founders of the group that developed this program. And she is currently on the boards of a number of organizations, including Public Interest News Foundation, Journalist Charity, IPSO, our board, and has had a number of very senior leadership roles across the industry. And I'm just thrilled that she is part of the core faculty team here on our program. Alison, I would like to ask you to just tell us a little bit about, from your perspective as a mentor and a member of the board, how you see that relationship.
So mentoring is, I think, from a mentor perspective, working with people on the course, it's how you get to see people's confidence in kind of their, not only in their kind of professional capacity, but also in their ability to tackle the different aspects of the course bloom. I personally have loved being a mentor, and I've learned from people as much as any help I've given them. But the thing that comes out again and again through this is how it helps people. I know Alistair was talking about like having time and like the thinking times. I think it also gives you time to really concentrate on yourself, because the mentees start off kind of often talking about, how do I do my kind of first piece of coursework? What do you think about this piece of coursework? And then as the conversations grow over the weeks and they do more of the Monday meetings and the learnings and the readings, I find it really interesting that people then start thinking, not what can I get out of this for my job, but actually what personally can I get out of this for me? What direction do I want to go in? What do I want my journalism to be, and what do I want to give journalism as a result of this? And I think it's, it's no surprise to me that people who do this do get promotions or go on and work for other companies or start companies for themselves, because I just think it gives you the capacity to explore ideas in safe spaces. And I think I'm still in touch with everybody I mentored as well, and I really love that. The fact that they get in touch and they tell me about their kind of career breaks and what they're thinking of doing, and we'll meet for coffee sometimes if I'm in the same city as them. So I actually think it's more than a network that you can have with your mentor. If you really get involved in it, it's a proper relationship. And the board, like the advisory board around it, even if your mentor isn't, is a specific person, the rest of the board are so generous, I find, with their time and their kind of opportunity to go and pick brains of other people who are involved. So it's almost like there's like one mentor, but like the rings of Saturn around it with a load of other people to lean into. And to be honest, I quite often will lean into those other board members and ask them advice and help as well, as you know, Francois. So yeah, I think it's probably one of the most rewarding aspects of the scheme, and the thing that can make a difference to how people want to shape themselves.
Fantastic. Thanks, Alison, for that. I'm going to just mention a few things about the program. So some practical things that people might want to know. So there are different stages. So this is an information session, and we're going to invite you now to please turn on your camera and ask any questions that you may have after this. But just some practical things is we start in January every year, and we run through to December in 3 10-week blocks. One starts at the end of January and runs to before Easter, one runs after Easter to June. Then there's the summer break. Then we start again at the end of September, and we kind of end in December, and graduation is in July every year. So that's the kind of rhythm of the program. There is 3 intensive study blocks throughout that, and those are intensive, and they are study blocks, and really fantastic opportunities to meet with people and engage. The first one of those is completely online. It's very interactive, but it happens entirely online. The one in the spring, typically in May, and the one in the autumn, typically end of October, first week November, is hosted from Preston, or we've hosted it from Cape Town and other places. May be possible as well as we go forward. And that is a hybrid affair. So people have the choice of coming in to Preston and meeting face to face and engaging with each other, but people who can't make it are able to join online. So we run it as a fully hybrid session. The process for application is kind of twofold. So we have you apply to the university, and through the normal application process there, and that there is also a limited number of scholarships available, and the process is that people need to apply to the university and fulfill the university's basic criteria, and then if that is successful, we can they can also apply for the scholarship, and we have a limited number of scholarships available. Our program was initially funded almost entirely by Google News Initiative, and International Media Support came along as a partner. This past years, we've had additional funding partners who've supported us with tuition scholarships and other support. Those this year include ArcXP, the Washington Post software company. We have Tickaroo, FT Strategies, Bright Sites technology company. We have Chrysalis Transformation. We also have the Media Lab Jordan joining us, and I think I've mentioned everybody. So we are in the process of finalizing the funding support for next year, but we anticipate a number of scholarships to be available as well. People on the program, we ask that if your company can pay, that you try to do that. We have 3 ways that people fund it. Either they self-fund, the company funds, or they get additional support through the scholarship scheme. We do also invite everybody who applies to a half-an-hour conversation with a member of the course team and somebody from our advisory board to have a one-to-one chat about your expectations and whether this is a good fit for you. So we schedule all of those as well. So this session today is just a sort of general information session. Just wanted to say that you've probably been onto our Media Innovation Studio website, and if not yet, please just pop by there. I'll put the link in the chat again, but most of the materials there you'll be able to download, our flyer and our planner and all the other kinds of things. You might see that some of the things will have a different name on it. We have just moved from the University of Central Lancashire, or UCLan, to the University of Lancashire. So you just bear with us as we update some of those materials going forward. But just turn on your camera, open your mic, raise your hand.
So I guess my question is, I haven't had a chance to look at the course material, but just how flexible, I guess, is the program in terms of, you know, if I want to do something around, you know, fake news and disinformation or whatever, I mean, is there scope and flexibility within the program for me to kind of lead or you know, come up with projects that are relevant, very relevant to my work?
Okay, so thanks for that, Karen. And we scope every project brief to give you the option to choose a way to apply it into your specific context. Each of our assignments, and Jacqui and Alistair and Alison would invite you to come in, but the audience for your assignment is not the course team. You are writing a report for your board or for your staff or for your investors or for something. We are witnesses and audiences to give you feedback on the project that you do for your context, or a context that you'd like to create. If you're a founder in a startup, or you're starting a new business, you might want to be focusing on external investors or whatever that may be. So maybe it would be helpful for Jacqui and Alistair to just come in, maybe to highlight very briefly a project you did and how that was scoped to address a specific challenge that you were facing at the time.
Yeah, I can come in on this. So actually, we had the first 10-week block and then the intensive study block over that week that Francois described. And I didn't know what I was going to write my position paper on, and I think the position paper was the first project that we needed to do. And so I sat through the intensive study block, and about 4 o'clock on Thursday, it suddenly came to me towards the end of the week, and I arranged a call with my boss at work for 3 o'clock on the Friday afternoon, which was just after the course was going to finish. And suddenly I'd had this brainwave, and I thought I'd come up with with something that I could do for my position paper. And the idea was that we would work. I would look at how we could find a different way of pivoting out some of our smallest regional news websites to look at to focus on registrations and subscriptions rather than page views and audience growth. And so I ran it past my line manager the next day, wrote my position paper, and we did indeed go ahead with it. So I pushed it sort of through the company and through the various chains of approval, and we launched a pilot project within 4 weeks for that use case. So yeah, very much as Francois described, you can kind of, the subjects are broad enough that you can position it in any way you want, and you're writing for the people at work. And I very much did that and presented it to my work, and had to mold it in lots of different ways to present it to different audiences. But nonetheless, the foundations were there within that project that I'd done.
Yeah, and I'll jump in as well. Yeah, so I mean, I knew the field I was going to focus on, because I always knew I was going to focus on business journalism, in part because I think I was the only person in my year looking at that, possibly in previous years as well. But I can reassure you that people on my year looked at all sorts of things, from the sort of big company issues that I had, right through to funding. Right, I think we did have someone, didn't we, look at news avoidance and things like that, and practical implications of that. I wrote my assignments with the view that I'd present them to my bosses, which I did. And in actual fact, in a slightly odd way, still am. I'm actually returning to some of this stuff and rewriting it, which gives me a handy excuse, but a genuine one, to not go into detail. But what I can say is what it was for me. I work in a small arm of a bigger company, so my focus was on how we look more widely at what we do within the wider media company in terms of stuff that could be considered as business news, and how we bring that and weave that together into and around what my small team does. 3 quite different projects, one of which position paper was much more general. The second project was a much more specific tech idea, which is the one that I came up with after discussing it with my mentor. So much like Jacqui, I did not know what I was going to do, and after conversations with people on the course, it came to me. My third project was a bit more about revenue and similar things. So quite a range of things, all of which are still relevant and are probably relevant beyond my individual field as well. Obviously, the specific project you do is quite specific, but to return to something Alison said, it's also about you, and it's also about your own skills and the skills you can bring. And even looking at this sort of stuff within your own field, could one day be useful more broadly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a couple of other questions that came in.
When is the application of the program is opening so that I can apply?
Okay. The applications are currently open, so you can follow the links from the university's website to the application, and if you have any questions about that, happy to direct you to that as well further. But you can, in terms of the deadlines, we have a early deadline and a later deadline. What we're hoping to do is to get all applications in by the end of October. So we've got kind of 6 weeks now to do that. And what we will do is screen the applications as they come in and schedule the interviews with individuals as we go. It's kind of important that we try to get all the decisions made in November so that we can let everybody know. We bring the cohort together in the first week of December, and then we start at the end of January. So we'd highly encourage you to get started as soon as you can. Please feel free to reach out to anybody on this call that you've met, Alison, Alistair, Jacqui, or myself. You'll also find on LinkedIn a number of our alumni have put out posts to say, contact me, DM me, and ask questions, and you're most welcome to do that as well. Alison, Alistair, Jacqui, any last words?
I'll jump in and say, I know everybody who's kind of spoken so far, including myself, did this while we were working for a company, but there are people doing this course year after year who are owning their own company, or are independent journalists trying to work out what they want from the industry, what they want to bring to the industry. So if you're not part of a large company, don't think that it's not for you. People are doing consultants reports on this year to present to a government as opposed to present to their chief executive. So there is, I think, I just want to stress, your ambition is your limit on this. So don't think that because you're not part of a established mainstream media outlet that it's going to be tough for you to do, because people all over the industry are doing it.
Thanks, Alison. Alistair. Any-
It's good for you and it's fun. So if you do think you can give it a go, really do think about it. You will enjoy it.
Jacqui.
I'm not being paid to be here, and I'm here because I really see the value in this course. So I think I hope that speaks volumes. That you know, I think there would have been myriad people who would have turned up and said how much they enjoyed the course and how great it is. And you know, everybody who's been through this experience loves it. And to Alison's point, they are from all sorts of different media organisations and sole traders all over the world. So yeah, as Alistair said, please, if you're thinking about it, it's definitely worth it.
Thank you so much, all of you. And thank you all again for joining us on the call this evening. Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to anybody if you have any further questions. We look forward to your applications and to continuing this conversation. Thank you so much, and a good evening to you all, wherever you may be.